Welcome to the Daily Insider here on Vegas Insider. I am Kevin Rogers. Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. And for as bad as the wild card games were last weekend, we got our money's worth with the four divisional playoff games, all ending in walk-off fashion. And we'll look at the four games, including the Bills-Chiefs epic classic in Kansas City with Dave Sharapan, who joins us every Monday during football season, former oddsmaker, and a lot of good things. Looking forward to hearing from Dave about this past weekend. Also, now we're down to the Final Four, Bengals, Chiefs, and 49ers, Rams, just like everyone thought it would be before the season started. So we're going to get to all of that coming up in just a little bit. First, before we get to Dave, I want to tell you about BetMGM. They are the king of sports books, and they are live in New York now. They offer a welcome bonus for casino and sportsbook new users. Enter the bonus code VIBONUS for a $25 no deposit free casino game plus a $100 or 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Enter VIBONUS on the BetMGM Sportsbook app to receive a $1,000 risk-free bet for your first wager. And also BetMGM special offer, bet $20 to win $100 in any sport or game regardless of your wager's outcome. Again, use the bonus code VI bonus and check it out now. BetMGM, they are the king of sportsbooks. All right, let's bring the man on. Wearing his Cincinnati gear, Bengals hat, Reds shirt, and the Reds, that was the kind of the Ken Griffey Jr. Reds days, right, with the black and the red.
How do you just immediately you got it? That's number 30, Ken Griffey. Absolutely. Bengals lid, Joe Burrow glasses. We're all in with these Bengals. I mean, come on. I mean, Joe Cool. Everybody forgot about his game already after what happened yesterday, Kevin. So I said, you know what? We got to pay tribute to Joe Burrow today and the Cincinnati Bengals for being the one dog left that nobody saw coming.
Well, we're going to talk about the Bengals in a second. The Bengals face the Chiefs coming up in the AFC Championship. But on Sunday, Dave, I had the Buffalo Bills. And look, couple things here. So much to take from this game. Number one, I am not under the belief that the overtime rules need to be changed. I had Buffalo, and I still don't think they need to be changed because it never ends. That's what it gets down to. Dave, the Chiefs or the Bills had three opportunities to shut down the Chiefs. After Josh Allen had the 4th and 13, they scored the touchdown. Mahomes had the touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. Allen takes him down again. Touchdown pass to Gabriel Davis. 13 seconds. We'll talk about that in a minute. Field goal. Chiefs win the toss in overtime, have a shot to stop them. Touchdown. You had three shots. It's all on you. It's all on the defense.
I agree. I mean, what are you going to make the overtime rule? That's the thing. There's not. I don't know what you make it to make it better. So just play by the rules that are and stop them. Kevin, I still can't believe they scored with 13 seconds left to get that field goal. I mean, it was as much of Buffalo not squibbing it and then playing too soft, or I don't know, but I still can't believe what I saw. 2 quick passes, the field goal's good, and I just said, man, whoever wins this toss, they're going to score. Right then you knew whoever wins the toss is going to score. Neither defense was going to stop the other one. And, I mean, I can't say that, if you had Buffalo, you had the wrong side. I can't even say, well, I feel like if you had the total under, you probably had the wrong side. But maybe not. My goodness, what a football game.
The 13 seconds, I really believed. Let me rewind for a second. After the 4th and 13, I said, wow, you're giving Mahomes 2 minutes. We'll see what happens. And they have that quick strike to Tyreek Hill. When the Bills got it back with all the timeouts, I'm like, all right, they can make some plays here. I didn't think they would get a touchdown. They did. I really felt, Dave, deep down, I'm like, this is over. They got this. Like, they're not going down in 13 seconds. But going to the squib situation, not even squib, kick it in play.
That's all.
The time was so valuable. 3 seconds, 10 yards. I'd rather take the 3 seconds off. You start at 35.
No question. That's exactly. I mean, I was ready to. So I don't have a Buffalo hat, and as soon as Buffalo scored, I was like, "Geez, I gotta find somewhere that might have a Buffalo Bills hat." It's over. It's it. And kicks the ball deep. Okay, why? The first thought immediately was like, "Why? Why did he do that?" Like you, just pooch it. Just send it up in the air so they got to field it. Maybe come, call a fair catch. I don't know what, but kicking it out of the end zone was definitely the right play. And then the two plays right there were just so good, Kev. Like, those guys know each other. You can see the benefits of playing with each other and just knowing exactly. The difference was the preparation. They've practiced that. They've practiced that whole scenario. We got 30 seconds. How do we get in field goal range? With 2 timeouts, whatever they had. Bam, 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 done.
They had 3 timeouts, Dave, and those seconds were so valuable that if you just did something like you said, you kick it high up in the air, let them run, down it, you just took 2 seconds off. Okay, now it's 11 instead of 13. If Mahomes takes him down, all right, but they just left that door open for Kansas City where you get the feeling now Mahomes can do anything at any point because they've proven it so many times.
Yes, that's where I was. I was like, "Oh no, they left the door open." And with Kansas City, right? Like, you had them down at the beginning of the season and nobody put them away and they figured it out. And now I feel like that going the rest of the way here. This was your chance to put them out, and Buffalo didn't do it. Or Kansas City won it. I mean, either way, I'm good with it. It was amazing. But that goes to this week, and I'm going to try to, hype Cincinnati best I can. I mean, they have a shot. Don't get me wrong, but man, it's going to be tough. Oh, it's going to be tough to go into Arrowhead and win that game.
Let's look back. Let's flip to the other game, that Bengals-Titans game. So Joe Burrow's getting killed back there. Yeah. And yet somehow they found a way to stay the course. Of course, when Ryan Tannehill is throwing all these interceptions, it keeps the door open. But even the Bengals up 16-6, they still kept Tennessee in that game. I don't look at this like the Bills losing. That's a heartbreaker. The Packers losing is a heartbreaker. I don't think that Tampa Bay was a heartbreaker. They're on 24 points. I don't think Tennessee was a heartbreaker. They weren't in control of that game at all. And the Bengals, luckily, they escaped there because they almost blew it.
The Titans had a 3rd and 4th down and won. They didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry on 3rd down. And then they did give him the ball on 4th down and didn't make it. Had they made it, they probably win the game with a field goal. And instead, they don't and give Burrow the chance. You can see it when coaches, as the stakes get higher, maybe the play calling gets super conservative, or maybe the defenses just really are that good. But my goodness, you felt like you wanted Cincinnati to try anything, and they kept trying, but he couldn't block. So, they kept getting sacked on 3rd down. And the Titans hung around long enough to win the game. Not a heartbreaker. I agree with you. You work all that season to get the number 1 seed. You score a touchdown, the opening touchdown, and you go for 2. Does everybody got to be the smartest guy in the room? Like, I just do. I think you see in the playoffs, when teams try to do something they don't normally do, it doesn't end well. Like, just do what got you here. Figure out a way. If the other team has taken your best thing away, do your second best thing. But just keep doing it. You saw Andy Reid at one point in that game. 3rd and 1, he put the tight end under center and had him pitch an option play. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, right, Andy? Like, that, right? What are you doing? You don't always have to outsmart everybody or get every play like that situation on SportsCenter. Just run it and do something. I think the Bengals overcame all of it and won a game. I don't think they stole it. They earned it. They earned that win.
Now, the one play I thought was going to come back and bite them was the second pick on Tannehill when they were driving. I thought that guy was going to be gone the other way, and he kind of like was running with Tannehill and just wanted to get tackled. He runs that. You know what that felt like, Dave?
The one he jumped up.
Yeah,
and
he
then
tipped it.
Caught. Yeah.
Yeah. This felt like that Colts-Ravens game on Monday night where Lamar fumbled, and it's like they botched it and they couldn't. I felt like you got to outrun Tannehill. You got to beat him down there and score that touchdown.
Don't forget, Tannehill was a wide receiver in college. I mean, that guy's an athlete.
Hey, I live in Miami. Believe me, I know all of that with the Dolphins.
Exactly. So I thought he was gone too. And that's the game, by the way. If he takes that over. If he takes that to the house, that's game. That's a wrap. It's done. And he doesn't. And then they punt.
Yeah.
Set the tone at the beginning of the weekend for a game that you just hung in the balance, decided on the last play of the game. And who knew that was going to lead to what we got in all 4 games?
Now, let's look at the NFC before we look ahead to the championships and also your numbers for the Super Bowl. We'll get to all that in a second. We'll start with the game yesterday, the Rams and the Bucks. So LA just in control. Game is over, 27-3. Actually, should have been over before the half because the Rams botched it up before the half. But 27-3, Brady gets him back 27-13, and you're thinking, no.
That's exactly what
this is 27-20, 27-27, and then Matt Stafford's got to be the hero of all people. He throws 2 big passes to Cooper Kupp. They kick the game-winning field goal. But my God, it's about doors open for Brady. It's like, no, you're not going to blow this game, are you, McVay?
I'm sitting there watching the in-game. I can't get enough of it. I'm like, all right, it's 17-3. You can take Brady plus 13.5, plus 6-1 on the money line, all this stuff. And I'm like, does anybody really think that this is over? Like this line's telling me it's over. I don't think this is over yet. Well, when it was 27-3 and Akers was going in, I was like, yeah, this is over. I don't even need to watch the second half. And he fumbles the ball. They rule it a fumble, which, by the way, had they let the play out, it would have been a scoop and score most likely to get 6 to the house. And they call it dead. Anyhow, they don't get in. And you're like, oh, man, okay. 27-3, you see all the tweets and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's funny. That's not going to happen again. It can't happen again. He don't have the horses. He can't do it. Plus, McVay's smart. He knows not to, just not run the ball and chew clock and all this other stuff. He knows. 27-6. What? Touchdown 27-13. And I was like, geez, the Rams better score again. Anything. Field goal, touchdown, safety. They got to get another score. And then they don't. And he catches the touchdown pass. Brady, who still has the arm strength, guns it deep. Ramsey stops running. He catches the touchdown. I'm like, what just happened? It's 27-20. All right, just get a first down or 2. It's done. What? He fumbled. Sue knocks the ball out. What? They're going to score. You're looking to bet Tampa immediately. They're going to score. I don't know how they're going to score, but they're going to score. You just know it now. Now this is really going to happen. They're going to get Tampa and San Francisco in the NFC Championship in Tampa. Like the kid, you were going to hear all the Dwight Clark stories, and he was at the game. I mean, if you don't know, you know now. You will know. Brady, they're going to do it again. What? Cooper Kupp got behind the defense? Well, you blitzed everybody? The one guy, you can't cover Kupp. Like, didn't you? He's only caught every ball. Every bettor in the world got paid off on prop bets, receptions over, yards over. He scored a touchdown. catches the ball, and there's time left to clock the ball, and the Rams move on. I still can't believe I saw it. I still can't believe it.
It's funny how Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, top receivers in the game, they're just open.
How? And they're so open. Like, it's not like open like he's throwing them open or it's little windows. I mean, Tyreek Hill's the fastest guy I think I've ever seen on a football field. He don't even look like he knows that his feet are moving that fast. He looks like he's out of control sometimes, running so quickly, but he's running past guys that are lightning fast. And he's waving at him going by, giving a peace sign. We didn't see the taunting penalty there, and we saw the first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Tom Brady in his career in that game, and he did get clipped in the mouth, and there was no call.
Now, the Rams are playing the 49ers. They're kryptonite because Sean McVay can't figure out Kyle Shanahan.
Nope.
So this game Saturday, Dave, I had Green Bay, and do you remember the scene in A Bronx Tale?
Yes.
Okay. When they're at the racetrack and they come down with the tickets, C is giving Sonny the tickets, kryptonite, can't lose. It's fine, can't lose. When the Packers scored that first touchdown, I know it's early. We've been doing this a long time. 5 minutes, I'm like, they got this. Up 7-0. They're going to cruise. This is going to be easy. And then I felt like Eddie Mush was running down the stairs. Kryptonite, go, kryptonite. And then he rips up the ticket. It just felt that way, that you let San Francisco hang around. The Mercedes Lewis fumble was a killer. And you just let the Niners hang and hang and hang. And then what happens? A block punt ties the game. They win it at the end. And Aaron Rodgers, again, goes home a loser.
I'm watching the game going, why is he only throwing to Adams? And the Mercedes Lewis fumble is probably the reason why, right? Like, he don't trust nobody, and you could see it. They're running the ball great. Then the broken coverage play, the pass to Jones, just kick a field goal before the half. This is perfect. This is a gift. It's freezing. Jimmy G can't complete no passes. The defense is playing great. What? You blocked the kick? Did that really just happen? Oh, no. The halftime line is -0.5. They're up 7. I know what that means. They're playing this game even, second half. This is going to be trouble. Like, immediately when I see the second half line like that, I know what the boys in the room are thinking. I know what I was thinking. Like, oh, man, this is going under. And the Niners aren't going away. The Packers better score. What? Block the punt? You blocked the punt? What? How did this happen? I mean, when San Francisco, I believe they went down late and didn't get a fourth down conversion, right? Thought it was done. 3 and out for Green Bay. Then they send them down again, right? And now we're just got to get a first down, can't get a first down. Just punt it and make him go, wait, block punt? Was done. Right then I was like, find a way to lose this game. I cannot believe this, but the Niners are going to win this football game. I don't believe it. I really thought the Packers were the best team. I'd still argue that they are the best team overall, and with Rodgers, but man, they don't get it done. And now it's wide open. Now you're going, okay. I think the Niners are live to win the whole thing. They're live to win the entire thing still.
Final note on this game before we look at the championships, that I felt like when Green Bay went up 10-3 when they kicked the field goal, I almost was happier with that having the Packers, because I didn't want them to go up 14-3.
Correct.
Then they go prevent, give up a touchdown, and it's 14-10. Like, all right, you got this. And the defense did everything humanly possible, so it wasn't on them. And then you have a block punt, and you're like, that's how you're going to tie the game, San Francisco? You do nothing the whole night, and this is what happens?
It's so funny because we're all gamblers in that regard, and we're thinking the same thing, because I'm thinking the same thing. I had the Packers too, and I'm like, all right, a field goal is better than a touchdown, but they might not win the game. Like, and at that point, I'm thinking for future odds and just for, I wanted to see Aaron Rodgers playing in the conference championship, ideally against the Rams. I thought the Rams going there would be pretty cool with Stafford and him dueling back and forth again, but Stafford having the team now. I thought that was the storyline that would be written. And wow, just the block punt cost them. Jimmy G finds a way to win a game. We got to check on the health of all. I mean, every 49er felt like limped off of that field at one point. I saw Kittle basically crawling to the sideline, Debo hopping to the sideline, a couple offensive linemen. That was a physical, great Saturday night football game.
Well, at least the good news is that now there's no weather issues for the NFC Championship game going to LA. Now, I'm going to put this up and let you check this out and tell me what you think. All right. These are your projections, your loose projections, I'll say.
Yep.
So Chiefs, 2.5, 3-point favorite over the Rams in the Super Bowl. 3.5, 4 against San Francisco. We'll start with those. So how did you come to that with those, considering we can have a repeat situation where the Chiefs, in a sense, are the road team against the home team in the Super Bowl with the Rams, like last year with Tampa Bay?
I didn't take that into consideration. It was very early this morning when I did that, and I was like, oh, geez. So you'd have to lessen those by a point each. I think Kansas City be like, I don't think the books are going to make the same mistake they did last year and overvalue Kansas City or undervalue the team at home with the better defense, which Tampa was last year, and the Rams or the Niners, I think, would be this year. So I think it'd be a point. I think Kansas City would be like -1 against the Rams, and you might have immediate buy on the Rams at that point. And I think Kansas City, San Francisco would be 2. And we go back to that, which we just saw a couple of years ago, right? Kansas City played the 49ers in the Super Bowl, and that was the line. And there was a ton of money for the Niners. So I think that's what you get. And then the other ones, I mean, and it was funny because in your text to me, you said you're not giving Cincinnati much of a chance. It didn't even occur to me to try. Not that I'm putting Kansas City through, but I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Cincinnati could be in the game too. So Rams would be at least a field goal favorite. It could be as high as 5. I think you could see, anywhere from -3 heavy juice to -4.5 or 5 against Cincinnati, depending how the game plays out. And San Francisco just under a touchdown, just under a field goal. So 2.5, 2.5 to as high as 4, depending on how the game plays out. If you have a dominant performance from one of the NFC teams, it's going to affect the line if it's against Cincinnati. It's not really going to affect the line against Kansas City because Kansas City is the odds-on favorite and has the most future tickets. And so all of that comes down to that last game. So I think you've got to take that in consideration. And the books are not going to give what I like to call the bad guys the free shot on anything more than a field goal. That's definitely, I forgot the game was in LA. No chance for the Rams. You get them I would, if it was us, Kevin, I'd try to listen to your argument and say we can make the game a pick and let them bet us up either way against the Rams, knowing the game's in SoFi. So, and it might shorten the number against the Niners too.
Now let's look at the 2 championship games. These are established. So Bengals beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago, and the Chiefs were in control of that game. The big Jamar Chase touchdown, and the Bengals had about 19 shots from the 1 to get in on 4th down. And on the 19th shot, they finally got in because there's flags in every play. But I don't want to dismiss Joe Burrow. I really don't. But, man, after the Chiefs survived that game, I mean, I could see this just being a rout. Am I nuts?
I don't think you're nuts. But I think Cincinnati has to play a perfect game. The Bills played a perfect game and still didn't win. The Bengals got to play a perfect game, both sides of the ball. Can't turn a ball over. Just it's one of those things where you're like, really? they're going to do it again. They just beat them. Everyone knows it, including the Chiefs. So, yeah, first thought is blowout. No, I mean, not blowout, but cover. The first thought is cover. But anything more than a touchdown is going to be, I think it's going to be a take. I don't think anybody with any real big money right now is looking to lay 7.5 with the Chiefs.
Now, in the second game, 49ers and the Rams, they meet up in LA. They just played in week 18. And the Rams were up 17-0 in that game, Dave. I mean, they were in control. San Francisco, with their season on the line, they came back, tied it, won it in overtime. So the 49ers won at the Rams to get in the playoffs, one at Dallas to advance, one at Green Bay to advance. Now going back to LA, weather control at SoFi Stadium, so you don't have to worry about bad weather. But the pressure 100% has got to be on the Rams here because you have the opportunity to host the Super Bowl next or in a few weeks, but also to get over on the on the 49ers, who you've had a lot of problems with.
I think all the pressure's on the Rams. And the game, Super Bowl's at the Rams. Like you it never happened before. And now it happened last season. So they're going to hear this all week, right? Hey, you excited that if you win this game, you're going to play the Super Bowl at home? And they're like, hey man, leave us alone right now. Like we got to win this game, and we can't figure this team out. Shanahan having the edge gives a great, different narrative to the whole thing. I think some bad guys may have tipped their hand a little bit, taking the Niners plus the points. And now a lot of places you got a heavy 3.5 on the dog. So that means plus 3.5. You have to lay 120 instead of 110. The books don't want to go to 3, Kev. You don't want to go to 3 on Monday. On Sunday night, you gotta keep it open. You got to keep booking money. Because once you get to 3, you definitely don't want to move off of it. So I think the line's great. At 46.5 makes perfect sense. 47, it's the right number. First thought is dog it under. I mean, it's going to be another slugfest. And I can't get out of my head the last game they played when it looked like the Rams were running them out. They're running them out. And then they didn't. And the 49ers find a way to win. The Rams should have closed that show yesterday, and they didn't. The Bills were 0-5 in games decided by one score, and they somehow lose that game. The Rams cannot keep continuing to blow big leads and get to the Super Bowl. So I think the game's a field goal game. Right now, today, I like the Niners and under.
The Rams were laying 3.5 against the Cardinals 2 weeks ago at home. Do you think the Cardinals and 49ers are on the same level?
No.
So Where's the advantage at then?
Well, I think the Niners are a way better team. I think that line was a gift. I had the Rams that Monday night. I think maybe ratings-wise before the playoffs, Arizona and San Francisco were close, 5 seed, 6 seed, similar records, maybe. But if you're watching the games, I mean, San Francisco's defense is playing. And Deebo Samuel is as important and as good of a player as anybody in the league right now. And the more ways they find to get him the ball, the better off the whole offense is. As long as Jimmy G don't make that WTF throw, as long as Stafford don't make that WTF throw, that's who wins this football game. I mean, it's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to that simple. How did he throw that ball? What was he looking at? Or, geez, it got tipped again and went right in the other team's hands. It's going to be that simple.
So you're going to get either Stafford or Garoppolo in the Super Bowl.
Believe it or not.
Number one. Number two, I want to ask you this before I let you go. In both these games coming up on Sunday, Dave, you have the underdog that defeated the favorite already. So the favorites, the Chiefs and the Rams, are both playing with revenge here. How much do you take into account with that?
At this point, not much, but I think bettors do. I think so. Knowing that, people would come up and do it two ways. Like, oh, they just beat them. They're not going to lose to them now. Or, oh, the Bengals just beat the Chiefs. There's no way the Chiefs are going to lose again. And you hear it to fit whatever way they bet, whether it was, 321 Cincinnati or 322 Kansas City. Same thing with the Rams and the Niners. As far as odds makers or the books, it's very, very little. The San Francisco Rams line was the easiest one to make ever. Like, hey, would that game close just a couple of weeks ago? 3.5. All right, use 3.5 again. Oh, maybe we should use 4. Get some Niner money. Okay. Do you want to start on 3? We could. So it's pretty easy. And then the Cincy KC game, that was a little bit harder because the game was in Cincy. It was 3, right? I think.
No, didn't it close at 5?
It went up.
Yeah.
But I think it opened lower.
Right. Okay.
And people bet KC. But now you just flip it for the home field and you make it a touchdown. So it's interesting, man. I love it. It's another great week that we can talk about and do content and all this other stuff. And then keep an eye on your Florida Panthers at the same time on their Western Canada swing. They're doing okay. They're scoring some goals.
Well, here's the only issue, Dave, is that they are 0-2 lifetime against the Seattle Kraken.
They're 0-2 lifetime for real against that team?
They lost to the Kraken in November. That was their first home loss. They lost them last night, 5-3.
They did lose last night.
3-3 going to the third. Seattle scored about less than a minute into the third, and they got an empty netter late.
Wow. Seattle benefiting already from the teams having to go through the Western Canada swing and catching Seattle on the way back east.
That Climate Pledge Arena, it's huge home ice advantage.
Is it, though? Really? Is it? Come on.
Some teams, I guess. The Kraken, they've had some clunkers this year, but yet somehow the Panthers, if they could just avoid the Kraken in the Stanley Cup final, they have a shot.
I think they're okay. I don't think the Kraken are going to make the playoffs right now. If you look at the Western Conference, I don't think there's any moves or any way that the Kraken can get there. So I can't wait. I was talking to a hockey guy over the weekend. I'm like, are you aware of what's going on in Florida between Tampa and the Panthers? And then you got Carolina. Like, how do you get out of that division? The winner of that division is going to be.
No, remember, Carolina's in the Metro, remember?
Oh.
Last year, they're in the same division.
Right.
With the realignment. Now Carolina's back in the Metro with Washington and the Rangers.
And the Penguins.
The Penguins. Oh, sorry. And the Penguins. Excuse me. I don't want to forget about them.
All right.
Sid the Kid.
It's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. How could you forget about Pittsburgh, Kevin?
They had a good win yesterday over Winnipeg in the shootout.
Down 2-0. Keep coming back. 16 of 18. The Penguins are winning games, getting goaltending. Hockey is phenomenal. And like people sleep on it all the time. I tell people all the time, it's a great betting opportunity. The tickets cash the same. It's a hell of a sweat when you watch the game. And, you can bet first period. You can bet shots on goal now. All these books put up all these props. You think you can't get stuff on hockey. You can get as much stuff on hockey as you can on a football game. And it's every night. I tell people that all the time. Pay attention.
The only issue, though, is when it's the shootout. That's kind of murky.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
Because you're like, well...
Kevin, my record on shootouts is terrible. If I don't get settled in overtime, I very rarely win a shootout. I just accept the fact that I'm done. If I get like 1 out of every 7 or 8, I'm like, well, at least I won 1. But my coin flip shootouts are no good. I'm terrible.
I'll give you this one quick thing, and then I'll let you go. That I had the Devils against the Rangers at the Garden a few months ago, and they went to the shootout. The Rangers beat them in the shootout 4-3. And I'm like, you score 3 goals and you're still losing the shootout? Like, seriously, you can't make one stop.
It's the worst.
It was the Bills' defense they were facing. That was
right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
excuse me, the Chiefs offense, I should say. I messed that one up. It was the Chiefs offense they were facing.
Chiefs offense they were facing, but it was looked like the Bills defense where they had
Terrible.
no clue, couldn't stop them. Yeah, I mean, dude, I can't wait. We got NHL All-Star game here. I'm doing the fan fest. I'm doing the whole thing. I'm gonna live it up. So, can't wait.
Dave Sharapan, you could find him on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. And when we speak to Dave next week, we will know who's going to be in the Super Bowl.
Ooh, can't wait. Can't wait. Who do you think it's going to be? First blush.
Home teams.
Do you? I think KC San Fran is my first thought right now. But
they should move the game to Mexico City so they could do it like in 2 years or a few years ago. Like, just like get it there because they moved the game out of there in that crazy 54-51 game, or whatever it was, the Monday night.
Well, I mean, LA's going to feel it's going to be incredible either way. Either way. The only thing that would just dampen it a little bit would be if the Bengals go ruin everybody's party. I mean, nobody wants to see the Bengals in it except for Cincinnati and Bengals fans. You know, everybody wants Mahomes there. You guys pick your opponent, and we're fine. I'm surprised that Cincy KC is the first game of the day on Sunday, but I think it's going to be an awesome day. I can't wait.
Dave Sharapan, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
See, Kev. Good job.
All right, there is Dave Sharapan. Always great talking to him about everything, especially the NFL, and always appreciate having him on the show to break down the NFL on Mondays. DraftKings in the Championship Series, that GOAT, he's in New York. He's making his way around. He's saying hi to everybody and showing them the crown and saying, you know what? Hey, I'm the man or I'm the woman. It depends, but still, the GOAT is there. The DraftKings Championship Series is the ultimate competition of contest winners from daily fantasy sports, sportsbook, and casino. The one and only place you can compete in the king of competitions. The best of the best in each domain will compete for series supremacy in their own domain's tournament of champions. They'll have one goal in mind: win the ultimate crown and earn the title of the greatest of all time, the GOAT. That's right. That GOAT is just sashaying through New York, and you can do it now because DraftKings is live in New York. So check them out now at DraftKings.com. All right. A couple things we want to get to here before we get out of here on this Monday. You have 4 NBA games tonight. The Knicks and the Cavaliers will lead it off. And New York finally broke through at the Garden yesterday, beating the Clippers. And LA hung around for a bit. New York kept extending the lead, but then the Knicks ended up pulling away. So New York ends that 4-game homestand, that disastrous homestand, 1-3 by beating the Clippers 110-102. Game easily went over the total of 204.5. And now the Knicks going to Cleveland tonight to face the Cavaliers, who have won 5 of 6. I mean, Cleveland just continues to impress. They're 28-19. And also a revenge spot for the Knicks, who got burned by Ricky Rubio, who's now out with a torn ACL. But Ricky Rubio at 37 points at the Garden a few months ago to beat the Knicks as 7-point underdogs. Now the Knicks are flipped to an underdog here against Cleveland. And the Cavs, they ended up beating the Thunder the other night, but they did not cover in that victory. They were 12-point favorites. Pacers and the Pelicans, raise your hand if you're available for this game. No Brandon Ingram for New Orleans. He's out with an ankle injury. On the Indiana side, Sabonis out, LeVert out, Malcolm Brogdon out. But yet Indiana, the one thing I'll give them, they've covered 3 straight. Granted, the last 2 was very heavy dogs. But they won at the Lakers, won at Golden State in overtime, hung with Phoenix for a bit, but then they kind of petered out a little bit, lost 113-103 on Saturday night. But 3 straight covers for Indiana in spite of all the injuries. Now they go to New Orleans. Pelicans haven't played since last Thursday when they beat the Knicks 102-91 at the Garden. And the Pelicans come in 5-2 ATS the last 7, 4 straight unders for them. Pacers did beat the Pelicans earlier this year in Indiana. But now the Pacers, they are flipped to a dog, and here's a good number. Brandon Ingram out, not good for the Pelicans. They're 1-8 this season when Ingram is sidelined. The only win came against Cleveland as a dog. Now let's look at the 2 other games. This was a rescheduled game. The Bulls and the Thunder in OKC. Billy D's return to Oklahoma City. Bulls not playing so well. Granted, they have injuries. Lonzo Ball is out, and Alex Caruso is out. Zach LaVine is out. It's just pretty much DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic are running the show, and that's it. So the Bulls, they have dropped now 6 of 7. They got blown out by Orlando last night on the road, 114-95. Back-to-back games scoring less than 95 for Chicago. Oklahoma City, they're back after a 4-game road swing, which they went 0-4. They've lost 5 straight overall, 4 consecutive unders, but also the offense has not been good. 87 against Cleveland, 98 against Charlotte, 96 against San Antonio. So their offense hasn't been good. Bulls' offense hasn't been good. That total of 216.5 could be a little high, but we'll see. Jazz and the Suns wrap up the night from Phoenix. The reason why this line is so high, Donovan Mitchell out, Rudy Gobert questionable. First time these teams are playing this season, and these were 2 of the top teams in the West last year. It's hard to trust Utah just because if they're out of bodies, then I don't want to even take the points with them. Lost at Golden State last night, 94-92, pushed as 2-point dogs. Interesting fourth quarter, 28 points combined. Utah outscored Golden State 17-11, lost by 2. But Golden State did not have Klay Thompson in the lineup. Steph was 1 of 13 from three-point range, and still the Jazz lost. Phoenix, they have caught fire again. They've won 9 of 10. They have won 6 straight. Didn't cover against Indiana, laying 13.5 the other night. They won by 10. But 3 straight unders for the Suns. Phoenix is obviously still elite in spite of losing in the finals last year, but 36-9 for the Suns, laying 9.5 tonight against the Jazz. And in college basketball this evening, checking out the you know what's funny? You have a lot of ACC action, a lot of I should say a lot. You have 3 ACC games. Boston College, Wake Forest. Wake laying 10.5 at home after they just killed North Carolina. Tar Heels at home playing Virginia Tech. UNC laying 4.5. Louisville at Virginia. Cavaliers just got routed at NC State. So Virginia laying 5 there. You have a rare SEC Monday night game. Florida's at Ole Miss. Gators have won a few in a row at home. Mississippi just got blown out by Mississippi State. They're up 2 blowout losses. They also got destroyed by Missouri at home last week. But one of the more interesting lines you'll see from the Colonial, UNC Wilmington is at Northeastern. Northeastern is laying 2.5. Okay, what's the big deal? Northeastern is 0-7 in the Colonial. UNC Wilmington's 5-0 in the conference. And they're still getting 2.5 on the road against a team that hasn't won a conference game yet. So something to consider there. Texas Tech, Kansas at 9 o'clock inside the Big 12. Jayhawks laying 7 after they had a massive rally against Kansas State the other day to win that one. St. John's and Seton Hall in the Big East. Seton Hall a 7-point favorite. And then late night action, Arizona State at USC. Bobby Hurley's not going to coach that game. He got suspended for 1 game for arguing. Sun Devils at 6-10, Trojans at 16-2. So a lot of action in college basketball, rare for a Monday night. NHL, a handful of games. Vegas and Washington, good matchup there in D.C. Rematch of the Stanley Cup from a few years ago. Capitals laying 140, 145. But also a couple other big lines. Minnesota laying 350 to Montreal. And Colorado laying 300 to Chicago. So you got some of those. St. Louis, a dog tonight on the road at Calgary, but St. Louis also played at Vancouver last night, so taking that into account. So let's, before we get out of here, tell you again about BetMGM. They're the king of sports books. They are live in New York, so you could check them out if you're in the Empire State. They offer a welcome bonus for casino and sportsbook new users. Enter the bonus code VI bonus for a $25 no deposit free casino game plus a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Enter VI bonus on the BetMGM Sportsbook app to receive a $1,000 risk-free bet for your first wager. You can check out BetMGM in several states: Arizona, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, West Virginia, Mississippi, Washington, D.C., Indiana, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Iowa, Virginia, Michigan, Illinois, and Wyoming. You can find BetMGM in all those states and also in New York. So check them all out now, and you can find them at BetMGM.com. BetMGM, they are the king of sports books. All right, Mike, thanks to Dave Sharapan for joining us today on the show. And we'll be back with you tomorrow to, again, talk about the championship games inside the NFL and plenty of NBA and college basketball to look at for Tuesday. So looking forward to that. I am Kevin Rogers. Appreciate you tuning into today's edition of the Daily Insider. Also, the Bet and Collect podcast will be out later today to get that conversation with Dave Sharapan in case you missed it. So all of that you can find later today on Vegas Insider. I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for watching. And as always, best of luck with your bets.